Nothing. I couldn't believe it. He said, well, I just race all the time.
All right, now, Darrell, here's Tony Stewart. Here's his teammate running right behind him. Should the caution come out, you're the leader. What do you do?
Well, I'm feeling pretty comfortable if I'm Bobby Labonte. That's my teammate.
Okay.
So I'm pretty sure he would blow out all 4 tires over here at the start line if he had to let me get back on the lead lap.
Tony Stewart will let him back on the lead lap.
Yes, sir. I'm not a big fan of that. I don't like them slowing down, letting people back on the lead lap, but that's my teammate.
Halfway through this time by, guys. Halfway.
And at halfway, it gets us to our Coors Light halfway recap. Ryan Newman led the first 15 laps. Bill Elliott was the pole sitter. Then Tony Stewart took over. And we've had 18 lead changes over the next 124 laps. Tony Stewart has led the most laps, 95. Dale Earnhardt Jr. tracking Tony Stewart from 1.6 seconds back. Kurt Busch holding his own in third.
Welcome back to Atlanta. Fox tomorrow gear up for an adventure of a lifetime. From the producer of Erin Brockovich comes the series premiere of The American Embassy. That's tomorrow, 9 Eastern, 8 Central, right after an all-new episode of Boston Public, and it's right here on Fox. Chris Myers and Jeff Hammond from the Hollywood Hotel. You're enjoying the NASCAR series on Fox, presented by Home Depot here in Atlanta. And there is the leader, Tony Stewart. And we saw Bobby Labonte, who has won 5 times in Atlanta, having trouble slowing down.
Yeah, it looks like he may be the first victim of this one-engine rule, and I believe Matt Yoakum may have an update on that.
Well, Jeff, I've got Jimmy Maker, the crew chief for the 18 car. Jimmy, what's wrong with the engine?
Something's going wrong. Braking. When Spencer hit us over here on pit road and turned the car around, Bobby over-revved it quite a bit and probably bent something in the motor. It's just gone bad. So had to lift it on pit road, cost us.
All right, thank you very much. And in the pre-race show, we talked about motors. Of course, last year in this race, 8 blown engines, the most of any one race or track last year. And Jeff, you talked about what led to the blown engine, or what might certainly lead to it here.
And as Jimmy Macar was trying to say, over-revving the engine, what it affects is the valve train, the valve spring in particular. And what happens is when you over-rev one like that, a lot of times it collapses the spring so much that it will actually break it. And that's probably what happened right here. And you can see right now Dale Earnhardt Jr. is making a challenge right there. That's my boy right there, passing Tony Stewart. And if you can't tell about, I have picked him today.
Yes.
I hope he can do well.
You picked Dale Earnhardt Jr. to win the race in our pre-race show, challenging and now passing Tony Stewart. You know, the Roush cars coming into this race, all 4 were in the top 10. Now, it's early, but they were in the top 10 in Winston Cup points race. And how are they doing today?
They're doing quite well, with the exception of Jeff Burton. He got down early, but been watching his lap times. Undoubtedly, they've made some adjustments to the car. His lap times look very good. He needs to get a caution, maybe, and get back up there where he can challenge and get his lap back, because his times are good.
And I wanted to mention, you know, Kurt Busch is currently running 3rd. Now, his new crew chief is Jimmy Fennick, who has 16 career wins, including all the way back in '88 at Daytona with Bobby Allison. But he was Martin's crew chief last year. Why the flip of teams prior to this year?
Well, to be honest with you, Mark and Jimmy felt like their ideas were getting kind of stagnant. Jimmy is very much a student of this game. He's very good, very much a veteran. Jack looked at the situation and said, hey, I'm going to flip things around right quick and see if we can't get everybody, on board. So he put Jimmy with Kurt.
And Kurt Busch in the top 3, as you mentioned. And as you mentioned, we'll keep an eye on Mark Martin as well. Let's go back upstairs.
Well, Dale Earnhardt Jr., our new leader now, Tony Stewart, right with him, 3/10 back.
Racing is cruel, isn't it? My man blows up. Hammond's man takes the lead. Racing is mean.
That's why these grandstands are full every week, though, DW. It's so unpredictable. Bobby Labonte continues on the racetrack. He's about 3 seconds a lap slower than the leader, but he's maintaining that pace, not in the way of competition. So he'll get lapped about once every dozen laps or so, but he can stay out there as long as he can maintain that speed.
And just hope it'll keep running the rest of this race. Dale Earnhardt Jr. lapping Jeremy Mayfield in the 19 car. Finished 2nd last week at Las Vegas, but not having the day he had today that he had last week.
I'm not big on a lot of statistics, but try this on for any other major professional sport. 7 drivers in the field are under 30 years of age. Okay, fine. But 17 drivers in the field are over 40 years of age. And here's the big kicker. The youngest driver in this race, Casey Atwood, is 21. The oldest driver competing in the very same major professional event, Dick Trickle, is 60. You won't see that anywhere else.
Big span. Junior told me, he said, I like getting me a driver that's in his late 29s or early 30s.
That kind of applies to Dale Earnhardt Jr., who leads this race now over Tony Stewart by 3/4 of a second.
NASCAR Winston Cup Series on Fox, presented by Home Depot, is brought to you by Team Monte Carlo. The cars more champions depend on. Chevy will be there. By the flame-broiled Whopper from Burger King, America's favorite burger. At BK, you got it. By Napa Auto Parts. Napa, we keep America running. And by Rocky Mountain Cold Coors Light. Are you ready for a cold one?
180 laps complete, 145 to go.
Man, Stevie, I don't know how that. I don't know what's going on there, but I am a married man, very happy. Thank you very much.
Well, she might have a boyfriend whose initials aren't Darrell Waltrip.
That's what it was. That's what it was.
Her card was green. Maybe she picked Bobby Labonte too.
But you're talking about this huge disparity in age from 21 to 61. Huge difference in speeds too, from what we qualified to what we're racing at. Look at that. We're racing at about 178 miles an hour right now, down from 191 that we qualified.
And that's just simply, again, this racetrack is just so hard on tires. Plus, you're out there, you've got the front end open, you don't have it blocked up like you did on qualifying, getting all that downforce and getting that drag down on the straightaways, and the cars just slip and slide a lot more on race day than on qualifying day.
Plus, this is a bigger racetrack than it was when we qualified, because we're running up higher.
They're running a lot longer distance.
That's right.
All right, we've talked about the fortunes of the Roush cars. Jeff Burton not having a particularly good day, mired back there in 27th place. Jeannie?
And this is our own personal version of crank it up, because we're in the final pit stall. So I'm going to lean in and bother Frank Stoddard. Just curious what's going on with the car. You knew it was going to be a problem getting to the front because where you qualified. Where are you ranking with the Roush group right now? Not too good.
Well, they've obviously done a whole lot better job than we have today. That's obvious. But we're going to keep fighting all day. We thought we had a decent car on long runs. We knew we were real slow to start for whatever reason. We just couldn't get a hold of the racetrack like we needed to on fresh tires. But, you know, we started out there at the front this time, and I think we're running about 13th if we weren't a lap down. So, you know, we're okay in the long run, but we're just junked on new tires. And, you know, I'm sure Jeff's got a little bit of heavy heart today. His coach driver, Sherman's in the hospital with a triple bypass surgery, so we're all praying for him, make sure that goes okay. So our day can't be as bad as what his is.
We will echo the sentiments, thoughts, and prayers going out.
For 16 years, Tony Eury has fielded race cars for Dale Earnhardt Sr., now Dale Earnhardt Jr. Early, they were worried about a vibration. They were worried about a soft engine. No worries now. That car is running great. Now what?
Big trouble.
We've got a crash. We've got a crash.
Trickle hit the wall hard coming out of turn 2 and then spun around and center punched into the back straightaway wall.
That car it took a hard right, and then all of a sudden it shot straight back to the left. Or vice versa. Hard left and back to the right.
Just prior to that, Bobby Labonte had taken his car to the garage. Now, Huck Strickland was in the garage earlier for 20 laps, but they made repairs to his Bill Davis Dodge, and he came back out.
Boy, look at the nose of that car. He knocked the fire out of that wall. Flattened the nose. Watch this. Oh, he got up there and got up high in the loose stuff. Lost it. Got the hospital wobble in her right there.
Boy, there's the points leader, Sterling Martin, the 40 car right below him right there.
That's a hard lick, guys.
Yes, it was.
Thank goodness for the Hans device. Bam.
Trying to save it, and away it goes. The driver's net, the window net, is down. That's the signal to the safety crews from Dick Trickle that he is okay and will be able to climb out of that car.
He just did it. I looked up just as it was headed right back to the right into the wall.
Dave Marcus Racing has but 4 full-time employees to keep this fleet of cars running. They don't run every race. Marcus retired as a driver after the Daytona 500 and put Dick Trickle in the car for they missed the show at Rockingham and made it here, but their day is done.
He got up in that loose stuff. I'm thinking he probably picked a lot of that up on the tires, and then he just started losing control, and he tried to save it and couldn't.
Guys, pit road will be really busy here. It's been 110 laps since we had the caution. This is where that driver was able to tell that crew chief a little more information about what we're looking for the last half of this race.
Another timely pit stop. You've had a green stop, now you've got one under caution to work on it. Jeannie.
And the birthday boy making his way into the pits in 17 of Matt Kenseth. Very pleased with this car. He's going to get 4 tires and just an air pressure adjustment and all the fuel that he can handle. Of course, he had the engine problem after qualifying, had to make the change. So far, so good. Steve.
Well, Jeannie, the wobble that Kurt Busch referred to in the right rear has gone away, but they put half a pound of air in the right front. Good stop for Kurt Busch. Let's go to Matt.
Tony Stewart is already gone. They made an air pressure adjustment trying to tweak on that number 20 Pontiac. It was still tick tight in the center of the corner today.
Well, Dale Earnhardt Jr. just had a terrific pit stop, but it wasn't the best because he got beaten out by the number 20 of Tony Stewart. He said the car was a bit snug off. He urged the crew not to do anything significant with the car. They made a couple of half-pound air adjustments, and that's it. Those air adjustments were to try to compensate for what they expect the track to do, which is tighten that race car up as the day wears on.
Dick Trickle climbs from the car with very little help from the rescue workers. And it's good to see that he's out of that car under his own power and waves off attention. Be right back. Welcome back to Atlanta. 189 laps complete, 136 to go. Tony Stewart came off pit road first. Dale Earnhardt Jr., Kurt Busch, Matt Kenseth, and Dale Jarrett up in the top 5 for the first time today. There's a look at Ricky Rudd, who is currently 18th and still on the lead lap. Last fall at Homestead, his crew members involved in a very horrific accident when Ward Burton was tipped into the crew members as they came into the wall, over the wall. The NASCAR official thrown up on the hood and 3 members knocked down. Bobby Burrell, there you see on the left, the most seriously injured of the 3. Let's go down to Jeannie and Ricky Rudd's pit for today's Ford No Boundaries moment.
No boundaries for Ford, but NASCAR realizing safety a key issue in the pits. That's why we're seeing all the helmets this year. And as the boys talk, Bobby Burrell, as you mentioned, he actually had a hole in his eardrum. Kevin Hall just bruised up, banged up, and they took the rest of the season off after Homestead. The good news is both guys are feeling better. They're both going back over the wall, and they came back to start the 2002 season at Daytona. Everything okay. This a happy ending, Mike.
Thanks, Jeannie.
Well, some of those helmets are weird looking, aren't they? Look like bad haircuts.
Some of them are very aerodynamic, look like bicycle racing helmets.
Yeah, there's all kind of different. Everybody's got a different idea about what they need.
Jeff?
All right, Jeff Hammond, I want to talk to you a little bit about strategy. We're fixing to go back racing here in just a second. We have to think about it. This race has a green flag look to it. We've only had 2 cautions. We pitted on lap 187. That's 138 laps to go. You would have to run 69 laps a run, and we've not seen anybody really do that except cars like Elliott Sadler in that 21 car stretching that fuel mileage. What I've been telling my driver right now, save me some fuel under these caution flags.
You're exactly right. And as a matter of fact, I talked to Pat this morning, who's crew chief on Elliott Sadler's car, Pat Tryson, and he told me early on, he said, I'm going to be trying to stretch fuel so I know how far I can go. Believe me, he has an opportunity. He'll steal one from you with fuel.
Get ready to go back green here, guys. And folks, if this thing turns into a fuel mileage race, my ribs are going to be hurting because Larry McReynolds pokes me every time. Look at that.
Stewart, Earnhardt Jr., Busch, Kenseth, Jarrett.
Great.
Then rookie Jimmy Johnson, Elliott, Ward Burton, Jerry Nadeau, and Jeff Gordon up into the top 10. Here we go. Hut Strickland behind the wall for the second time today. Jeff Green has taken his car behind the wall. And